Hello and welcome. In this video tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to create a web page document using Visual Studio Code. In order to create your first web page or project, you're going to want to establish a folder. Folders are useful ways to organize your files as you develop web pages. I'm on a Windows computer. You're going to want to choose the location that you would like to store your work, such as the Documents folder. For simplicity purposes, I'm going to create a folder on my desktop. I'm going to go ahead and right-click, and I'm going to choose New Folder. I'm going to make sure that the folder name begins with lowercase letters and that there is no space between any of the words. Since the purpose of this video demonstration is for a course that I am teaching, I'm going to name this folder CIS 152. And I'm going to press the Enter key. I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code. And I'm also going to go ahead and right-click, and I'm going to pin this to my taskbar. I'm going to go ahead and close my welcome screen. So I installed Visual Studio Code software in an earlier video. I'm now going to go up to the File menu, and I'm going to go to Open Folder. And I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to go to the CIS 152 folder. I'm going to select that folder. So by doing this, this lets Visual Studio Code software know where I want to store the files that I will be creating for this course. In the hands-on practice exercise, we are going to go ahead and create a new folder inside of the CIS 152 folder. So you can see right here is my folder, and on the right-hand side are more icons. If I hover over them, it'll tell me what the icon is. The first one is New File. The second one is New Folder. So I'm going to select that, New Folder. And I'm going to name this folder Chapter 1. Notice it is all in lowercase, and there is no space after the number. I'm going to go ahead and select Enter. And I'm going to make sure that I'm in this Chapter 1 folder, and you can see that I am by this brown highlighting around it to indicate that this is the active folder. Inside of this Chapter 1 folder, I'm going to create a new file. I can either right-click and say New File, or I can go back up here and use these icons, whichever is easiest for you. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to say New File. And I'm going to call this file index.html. And I'm just going to select Enter. This creates a blank file. I'm going to go ahead and create the DOCTYPE and the HTML markup for this index file. Now, I could type all of the DOCTYPE information, but since Emmet is already part of this software, I'm going to use the shortcut command that Emmet has available. To be able to know what those shortcut commands are, I'm going to go out to my browser, and I already have Emmet open. And on the left-hand side menu, I'm going to select Documentation. And I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom to where it says Cheat Sheet. You will want to bookmark this page, as we will refer to it often. Now, I really don't know what I'm looking for, so I'm just going to use the keyboard characters Control plus the letter F together, which is find. So Control plus F. And I'm going to type DOCTYPE. And notice it comes up under this HTML heading. And it's the very first command that is in here. Now it's kind of hard to tell what that is, but it's a little exclamation point. So the exclamation point is the keyboard shortcut that I'm going to use to create my document type. So I'm going to go back to Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to type in an exclamation point, which is by holding down the Shift key, and it's over the number 1. And then I'm going to select the Tab key. So by using together the exclamation point and then the Tab key, voila, I have all the code written for me. Knowing these shortcuts will cut down on creating coding errors in your HTML and CSS files. Every web page that you will create will include the document type definition, commonly called a document type statement, and it is the first line of the web page. The HTML head, meta, title, and body elements are the basics of an HTML5 web page, with the exception of the specific page title. These first lines of code will usually be the same on every web page that you create, known as the DOCTYPE statement. Notice the formatting of each line. All of the HTML tags use lowercase letters. The purpose of the HTML element is to tell the browser how to interpret the document. The opening HTML tag is placed below the DOCTYPE, and the closing HTML tag is at the end of the web page. Inside of the HTML tag is an attribute, which further describes the function of an element. The lang, or language attribute, specifies the spoken language of the document. After the lang attribute is an equal sign, and between the double quotation marks is the value en, which indicates the English language. The head element contains a head section which begins with an opening and closing head tag. There are two meta elements. The first one describes the characteristics of the web page character encoding. Character encoding is the internal representation of letters, numbers, and symbols. The meta tag is a standalone, self-contained tag, and therefore it does not have a closing tag. The meta tag uses the char set attribute to indicate the character encoding. For our purposes, we will use UTF-8. The meta viewport element should be included in all of your web pages. This gives the browser instructions on how to control the page's dimensions and scaling. We'll learn more about this tag in an upcoming lesson. The title element will hold the text that appears in the title bar of the browser page. This text is known as the title of the web page. So where it says document, you will replace that, and you will name this whatever you want. I'm just going to say my first paragraph. You can name yours whatever you want. The title element will hold the text that appears in the title bar of the browser window. This text is known as the title of the web page. The title text is accessed when web pages are bookmarked and printed. Search engines use the title text to help to determine keyword relevance. Using a descriptive title will help in search engine optimization. I'm going to go after the closing head tag, and I'm going to put my cursor between the opening and closing body tags. Inside the opening and closing body tags is where text, graphics, and images will display directly on the web page. Within the browser window, I'm going to go ahead and type in the letter P and then select the Tab key. The paragraph tag defines a paragraph. Browsers will automatically add a single blank line before and after each paragraph element. I've just created the source code for my first web page. I'm going to go ahead and put in a little bit of text, and I'm just going to put in Hello World. You will use this paragraph tag to write about your favorite beverage. I'm going to go ahead and save my document, File, Save, or Control S. Now that I've saved my file, you can see that Prettier has made my code look much better, and I'm going to right-click on my index.html file. And because I already installed Visual Studio Code and extensions, and the extension that I am looking for is to open with Live Server. So I have opened in a browser where it says Hello World. So this is the output from my HTML file. If I right-click anywhere in my file and I view my page source, you can see here is my DOCTYPE information, and then here is my Hello World. Let me go ahead and simplify this a little bit though. When I right-click, I can see my source code in my file. So here are the lines of code that were in my first paragraph that I typed in Visual Studio Code. Now that I'm done with this file, I can close this and I can close both of this. I'm going to open up a browser. I've opened up GitHub and I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Now that I'm logged in and I'm at my dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and choose my repository. Now that I'm in my repository, I'm going to go ahead and where it says Add File, I'm going to select this and I'm going to say Upload Files. It says Choose Your Files. I'm going to go ahead and select this. I'm going to go to my desktop and it's in my WebD152 folder and it's going to be Chapter 1. I want to only put in my Chapter 1 because I already have a repository with the name that I'm going to use for this semester. I'm going to select Open. So here's the problem. It's not going to let me do that. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to drag it in. So now that I've dragged the Chapter 1 folder and the index file, I'm going to go down to the bottom where it has the green button, say Commit Changes. So both my Chapter 1 and if I click, my index file is in there as well. Okay, I'm just going to go back to CIS 152. Remember, if you're a student at Mesa College, your repository will be named WebD152. All right, I'm going to go to Settings, and I'm going to go to Pages on the left-hand side. And where it says Branch right here, I'm going to select this, and I'm going to choose Main. And I'm going to select Save. Now it's going to take a few minutes, but it's going to go ahead and build a GitHub Pages for me. And I can go ahead and refresh. And I refreshed a few times, and now it says your site is live at, and here is my URL. So if I visit the site, it says CIS 152 beginning HTML CSS because that was the description. To find my folder though, I have to type in Chapter 1 and I'll hit enter. And here is my index.html. You will copy this. So I'll right click and you can copy and then you will add this in to the Canvas assignment. All right. I look forward to seeing your work. Thank you very much.